Tottiford today, and I thought I'd just do some thoughts about some walking for some of the stretches along here, especially about water and the landscape and fairies. Tottiford and Trenchford, there's Kennick as well, is one of my absolute favourite places to come for a walk and for peace of mind. So it's a bit overcast today, but it's still amazing, as you can see. And the path runs right along the shore of the reservoir on this side, so you're really, really close to the energy of the water. So this is the path, and as I was walking, I was listening to the birds, which are always amazing here. The acoustics here are incredible. I must bring a recorder and record the birds. I'll just be quiet for a moment so you can hear, hopefully. It's just incredible, and I think the water acts as a bit of an amplifier for the birds. I've done some recordings of walks here before, a couple of years ago, when I first started to get to know this place. So if I can find those somewhere on social media, I'll post the link. So I'm really passionate about sharing the wild places of Devon and Dartmoor, where I come from, because I know from experience how good it is for wellbeing to be in nature. I did live in London for a while, about 25 years ago, maybe about 23 years ago, and I really missed Devon. It was quite a culture shock, and I've come to the stage of my life now where I'm not pursuing any massive career. I've got a family, and whereas as a teenager and young woman I was wanting to get away from Devon, I'm now totally embracing it, realising what a gift it is, such a blessing it is to live here. Hear voices in the distance. It's amazing how sound travels here, because it's the valley that's quite often happens with reservoirs in Dartmoor. They're valleys that have been flooded for the reservoir, and Tottiford is the oldest reservoir in Dartmoor. So a little bit about fairies. Fairies, not only do they inhabit woodlands and wild places, they are said to inhabit, beautiful bird behind me, they are said to have palaces and homes beneath lakes, especially natural lakes. This is a man-made lake, but apparently below this lake, discovered in about 2009, there is a stone circle, and no one knew about it until this big lorry going by on the forest track behind me. Nobody knew about it until the water levels dropped. The water company drained the reservoir about 2009, and then all of these ancient monuments appeared. Show you the woods. So yes, but water it's associated with magnifying magic or psychic energies. It's certainly very calming to be around. It's very still. There's always a people across the lake, or maybe it's fairies. There's been some incredible reflections on this lake. Look, you can see why there's so many stories about there being another world existing beneath lakes like this that are so mirror still. I'd love to come here when the sky's clear at night and see the stars reflected on the lake, you know, when it's a clear night, and or even at full moon, or you see the moon reflected on this lake. That must be magical. Don't really fancy coming here by myself and doing that. Maybe with some friends. I have to show you this stretch of the walk with the yellow gorse. Look, so vibrant. And up ahead, that's not the end of the reservoir. It carries on again. That's like a little dam across the middle of Tottiford Reservoir, which is quite magical in itself. It's quite interesting to sit on it. Feel like you're in the middle of the water, you know, almost like floating on the water. It's in between, because fairies inhabit the in-between places, edges of places, so at the edges of lakes, seashores, the edges of our world and the wild world, the places in between, fields and woods, bridges, all those kind of symbolically in between, not here or there places. This is the nature of fairy realm. And if ever there was a place that fairies lived, this is definitely one of them. I've gone a bit further and show you some. I play the harp, and I'm just blown away by the music of this place. Yeah, it's amazing. It might not be that obvious on my phone. And then just looking around, over there's a little hut, look, across the way. Just try and zoom in, where you can sit. There's something cool that I've recently found out about from someone who works with sound, visual music schools, and this landscape, I do believe that landscapes are like visual music scores, you know, the way they go up and down like music. They have their own rhythm, and these reflections are like sound waves. You know, when you record your voice or some music and look at the sound waves and how it goes up and down, up and down. It's a real art. Sound is such an art. I wonder what it would be like to come here with my small harp and play. I will come back and do that and do some recordings here, especially with the birds singing. And of course the birdsong changes throughout the year, and they're surprisingly awake today and chattery. They must be nesting and feeding their chickies. Okay, I'm going to walk up to this dam. There we go, here's this in-between place. And there's so much symbolism with this. When I've been walking with people before, on a fairy walk, I've suggested that we can look back at where we've come from. It's almost like looking into our past. We're at this halfway point, looking back at where we've come from, reviewing all the knowledge we've gained, and then we can look to where we're going to. And actually the end of the reservoir is just sort of tucked around that corner right at the far end. You can't actually see where we're going to, and isn't that like the future? You can plan so far, but there's something moving across the lake there. It looks like a little duck or a fish or something. Yeah, so we can only see so far ahead. Well, we actually can't see what the next minute's going to do, but we think we can plan. And my life wonderfully has never gone to plan. I've given up trying to control it. You know, we can plan to go shopping, can't we? Food shopping, and plan to go on holiday. But look at what's been happening over the last 18 months, or last year or so. Lost track of where we are with it all, but it's just been totally taken out of our hands. If you're like me, I've really been reviewing my life, reviewed where I've come from, what I've been doing up to this point in all aspects, and now looking at where I'm going and not putting too much pressure on myself. That's the key, peace of mind, I think, not to put these huge pressures we put on ourselves. Okay, I'm going to walk a bit further. This is a favourite line of trees for me, sycamore trees. And I especially love this tree that's got several trunks growing out of it. And here it's got a little fairy door with almost a little pixie smiley face on it. What do you do when you see a fairy door in a tree? Well, you can leave something for the fairies, like a little gift, like a stone or just something natural. Got some crystals. I'm just going to leave a little hazelnut there, half a hazelnut for fairies. Look at these violets growing. Bluebells behind me as well. Now, if you knock 3 times on a fairy door, be careful what you ask for. So think about what you want to ask, and is it something you really need in your life? And you can ask for something for someone else. I'm going to knock. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to ask for, but I'm just going to... Thank you, Fairy. And some tadpoles. there'll be hundreds, maybe thousands of little frogs in a couple of months' time, or maybe a month, hopping about. I think I've seen them sort of about June time, little baby frogs hopping about. Here we are, I'm right at the end of Tottiford now and going to walk back around the other side. Look, I love ferns, and look, I mean, they are just amazing. This one's unfurled, and these, look, these natural spirals, nature's natural spirals, and they're all going to gradually pop open in the next short while, and the leaves do the same. Look, they're all spirally. They're so beautiful. There's the view down the lake and some gorse, lovely yellow gorse over the other side, reflecting in the lake. Gorgeous.